드릴 수 있는 기회가 있어서 너무나 반갑고 영광으로 생각하고요.
Lovely viewers, gather close, because today's story is one that has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. A revelation so intense, so unexpected, and so emotionally charged that fans everywhere are still trying to process it. What if I told you that a private warning, allegedly whispered by Song Joong-ki to Lee Min-ho, has just been exposed? A warning wrapped in raw emotions, unresolved history, and shocking implications. The words said to have been exchanged. Don't marry her because of the twins. Lovely viewers, this is the kind of revelation that shakes the ground beneath two powerful love stories. One from the past and one blooming in the present. So sit back, relax, and prepare your hearts. Because today we're diving deeply into this emotional storm, and trust me, you'll feel every moment of it. Lovely viewers, the story begins quietly. Too quietly. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation. It wasn't a public spectacle. No cameras, no script, no staging. Just two men who once stood on completely separate paths, suddenly finding themselves face to face at a private industry gathering. Insiders claim that Song Joong-ki, normally composed and diplomatic, walked straight toward Lee Min-ho with a seriousness that startled even those who knew him well. Not rudeness, not hostility, just something heavy. An unspoken weight he had clearly been carrying for a long time. Lovely viewers, imagine Lee Min-ho turning to see him. Respectful, not expecting anything unusual. After all, these two giants of the industry rarely interacted. They lived in different worlds, worked on different projects, circled different social groups. But that night, destiny brought them close enough for a conversation that fans are now calling the warning that changed everything. And according to sources close enough to know, the moment they stepped aside to talk privately, Joong-ki dropped the one sentence that left even Lee Min-ho stunned. Don't marry her because of the twins. Lovely viewers, imagine hearing that. Imagine hearing something so bold, so personal, so loaded. And now the world is trying to understand. Why did Song Joong-ki say those words? What was the intention? Was it a warning? A plea? A confession? An expression of lingering hurt? Or something far deeper? Something that has been trapped in his heart ever since his own story with Song Hye-kyo ended in silence. Lovely viewers, let's step into that conversation. Not the exaggerated, dramatic version, but the emotional truth behind it. Insiders say Joong-ki wasn't angry. His tone wasn't cold. In fact, it was the opposite. Quiet, careful, almost trembling. As though he had been holding on to those words for so long that finally speaking them brought relief and pain all at once. He reportedly told Minho, "Make sure you love her for her, not for what she can give you, not for the children you dream of." Lovely viewers, that line reveals everything. Because this wasn't about jealousy. It wasn't about trying to destroy the new love she found. It wasn't even about wanting her back. It was about fear. Fear that Song Hye-kyo, a woman he once loved, a woman he once built a life with, might be walking into another marriage feeling insecure, thinking she must give more, offer more, produce more, just to be enough. Joong-ki knows her heart. He knows her vulnerabilities. He knows the quiet pressure she carries when it comes to love, age, expectations, and motherhood. And insiders say what worried him most was the growing rumor surrounding the couple. The rumor that Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo were considering expanding their family, possibly with twins, as fans excitedly speculated. Lovely viewers, the thought that she might once again feel pressured, even unintentionally, was enough to push Joong-ki into giving that warning. Not to interfere. Not to claim her, but to protect her from repeating the emotional wounds of the past. He reportedly told Minho, "She will give everything she has. Even what she doesn't have. Even what hurts her. Please don't let her break herself for you the way she once did for me." Lovely viewers, take a moment. Feel that. That isn't jealousy. That's regret. That's a man who has lived through a painful ending and is now witnessing the woman he once cherished stepping into a new beginning. A fragile, beautiful beginning he doesn't want to see damaged. But how did Lee Min-ho react? Lovely viewers, prepare yourselves. Because his response revealed the depth of his loyalty and his devotion. Witnesses say Minho looked Joong straight in the eye, unwavering, calm, protective. And he replied softly, "I didn't fall in love with her because of children. I fell in love with her because she survived without losing her heart." Those words. Lovely viewers, that right there is a vow. A vow not made in front of cameras or fans or media, but in front of a man who once knew her soul. Minho didn't deny the dreams of a family. He didn't pretend he hadn't imagined a future with her. But he made it clear that his love is not transactional, not conditional, not dependent on twins, children, or motherhood. He added, "Even if we never have a child, she will be the greatest choice of my life." Lovely viewers, imagine the weight of that moment. Two men bound not by rivalry but by the same woman who shaped both of their hearts in different ways. The tension wasn't anger. It was pain meeting acceptance. Past meeting future. Old wounds meeting new hope. Insiders say Joong exhaled deeply after hearing Minho's words, as if releasing something heavy he had carried for years. Then he reportedly said something that made the moment even more emotional. "Then don't let her feel alone like she did before." Lovely viewers, let's be honest. That confession was not meant for the world. It was meant for the man now holding the heart he once held. A passing of responsibility. A silent, "Protect her where I couldn't." And Minho, without hesitation, replied, "I won't let her face anything alone." Lovely viewers, doesn't that feel like fate tying a knot between their past and present? But the story doesn't end there. After their conversation slipped into the public eye, fans began speculating wildly. Some accused Joong of jealousy. Others said he was trying to sabotage their love. But those closest to him insist his warning wasn't a threat. It was a release. A closure he never got during the divorce. A final attempt to shield someone he once loved. And honestly, lovely viewers, isn't that human? Isn't that heartbreak in its rawest form? Wanting someone to be loved gently, even if not by you. Meanwhile, Minho's friends say that his respect for Joong grew after that conversation, because it showed him that the man before him wasn't a rival, but someone who understood the depth of Haekyo's heart in a way only history could teach. And Minho's devotion. Lovely viewers, it only deepened. That night, when he went home to Song Haekyo, he reportedly pulled her close and told her, "You never have to give me more than yourself. You are already enough." She didn't understand why he suddenly said that. She just smiled and hugged him tightly, unaware that two men had just silently agreed to protect her happiness. Lovely viewers, what will come next? Will this revelation strengthen Lee Minho and Song Haekyo's bond? Will Joong warning echo through their relationship in unexpected ways? Lovely viewers, as we continue this unfolding drama, the moment the truth about Song Joong-ki's private warning to Lee Minho started circulating, everything around the two men seemed to shift. It wasn't just a rumor anymore. It wasn't just quiet whispers from people close to them. It became a storm that no one could escape. And as this truth spilled into the public space, fans found themselves wondering whether this warning had influenced Lee Minho's decisions, whether it shaped his quiet struggles, or whether it intensified the pressure he faced behind the scenes. Because the message, "Don't marry her because of the twins," wasn't something that could be brushed aside. Carried intention, carried emotion. It carried fear, jealousy, regret, and maybe even a desperate attempt to hold on to something that had slipped away. Lovely viewers, imagine how shocking it must have been for Lee Minho when he first heard it. Here he was, completely in love, ready to build his life with Song Haekyo, ready to take responsibility, ready to embrace everything that came with loving her, including the possibility of twins, and suddenly the one man who once shared her life pulls him aside and drops this emotional bomb. The warning wasn't delivered casually. It wasn't a passing comment. It came from a place of deep personal turmoil. It was Song Joong-ki's attempt to influence the future, maybe in a moment of vulnerability, maybe in a moment of frustration, maybe because he felt a connection that he didn't know how to let go of. But no matter the reason, Lee Minho had to sit with those words. He had to decide what they meant to him, and whether he would let them shape the life he wanted with the woman he loved. But viewers, you know Lee Min-ho. You know how he is when he loves. He loves deeply, intensely, wholeheartedly. And even if those words shook him, they never broke him. Instead, they made him more determined. People close to him later revealed that he spent nights thinking, not because he doubted his love for Song Hye-kyo, but because he worried how this lingering shadow from her past might affect her emotionally. He didn't want her to feel guilt. He didn't want her to think she was being fought over like an object. He wanted her to feel loved, respected, chosen, not trapped between two men with unresolved emotions. So what did he do? He kept the warning to himself. He chose not to burden her with it. He carried it quietly, honoring her peace over his own discomfort. But lovely viewers, secrets never stay hidden forever. And this one, this deeply emotional warning, eventually found its way into the light. When the exposure happened, fans everywhere felt the shock ripple through their screens. They weren't just witnessing a celebrity rumor. They were witnessing real human emotions colliding. People argued online. Some said Song Joong-ki was being protective. Some said he was acting out of jealousy. Others said he simply panicked at the idea of losing something he once thought was permanent. And then there were fans who couldn't help but feel for Lee Min-ho, thinking about how painful it must have been to hear such a statement right when he was ready to give his whole heart with no reservations. And what about Song Hye-kyo? Lovely viewers, imagine how she must have felt when she learned about the warning. She was carrying her own fears, her own insecurities, her own battles with age, motherhood, and the pressure of public judgment. She had finally reached a point where she believed she deserved happiness again. She believed she deserved to be loved not for perfection, but for who she truly was. And then suddenly she discovered that the man from her past had stepped into her future, uninvited, attempting to influence it. It wasn't anger she felt first, it was sadness. Sadness because she never wanted Lee Min-ho to be pulled into old emotional wounds she had worked so hard to heal. Sadness because she didn't want anyone, not even Song Joong-ki, to feel the need to interfere in something that wasn't theirs to control anymore. But viewers, the incredible part is this. Instead of letting this warning create distance, instead of letting insecurity grow, instead of letting jealousy poison their bond, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo came out of it stronger. Witnesses claim that the night she found out, she broke down in tears. Not because she was hurt by the warning, but because she felt overwhelmed by the weight Lee Min-ho had silently carried. She told him, "You should have told me. You never had to protect me from this alone." But Lee Min-ho, being the man he is, simply held her and said, "I didn't want you to feel responsible for emotions that weren't yours anymore." That moment became a turning point. It became the kind of moment couples look back on years later and say, "That was when I knew we'd survive anything." Lovely viewers, as this story continued unfolding online, Song Joong-ki's team became increasingly defensive. They insisted the warning was misinterpreted, taken out of context, exaggerated for drama. But those closest to the situation knew it wasn't that simple. They knew the warning came from a raw emotional place. Some insiders claim he still struggles to fully accept that Song Hye-kyo has moved on, especially now that she and Lee Min-ho are building something real, something stable, something emotionally deep. And the twins' rumor, whether true or not, only fueled the fire, making Song Joong-ki react in a way that revealed more than he intended. He may not have meant harm, but his words carried weight nonetheless. So where does this leave everyone now? Lovely viewers, the most fascinating part is how fans have split into emotional camps. Some strongly defend Lee Min-ho, praising him for staying committed despite the emotional interference. Others sympathize with Song Joong-ki, saying his warning came from a complicated emotional space. And then there are the fans who look at Song Hye-kyo, strong, elegant, enduring, and say she deserves peace more than anything else. She deserves a love free of competition. She deserves a partner who stands beside her without doubting her worth. And that partner in this chapter of her life is undeniably Lee Min-ho. And yet, the drama hasn't stopped. The leaked warning continues to spark debates. Entertainment insiders claim more details are about to surface. Details that could reveal why Song Joong-ki felt compelled to intervene at that very moment. Some say he heard rumors that Minho was preparing a proposal. Others say he panicked when he learned about the possibility of twins, fearing the narrative would overshadow his past with her. But whatever the reason, viewers can feel that this story is far from over. There are still emotional layers waiting to unfold. There are still secrets waiting to surface. And there are still conversations happening behind closed doors that could change everything. Lovely viewers, the next chapter begins with something completely unexpected. A private meeting between Minho and Joong, one that neither man wanted publicized and one that no fan ever imagined would happen so soon after the warning incident. According to someone present at the venue, the tension in the room was so thick it felt like the air itself was holding its breath. Minho didn't come to argue. He didn't come to fight. He didn't come to defend himself. He came to understand why that warning. Why now? Why interfere with something so delicate, something so meaningful, something so deeply connected to Song Hye-kyo's emotional healing? And viewers, let me tell you, that conversation wasn't calm, nor was it loud. It was painfully honest. Insiders say Song Joong-ki looked exhausted the moment Minho arrived. Not physically but emotionally. As if he knew he owed an explanation but wasn't sure how to say it without sounding selfish. The room wasn't filled with anger. It was filled with history, heartbreak, guilt, confusion. It was the kind of energy that only exists when two men care deeply about the same woman, but in completely different ways. And according to the source, Song Joong-ki finally admitted something he had never said publicly. I wasn't warning you to hurt you. I was warning you because I didn't want you to feel trapped by expectations. Lovely viewers, that statement alone shook fans who later heard about it. Because what expectations? Whose expectations? Was he talking about the twins' rumor? Was he implying something deeper? Was he projecting his own regrets onto Minho? The insider claims the room went quiet when he said it. Minho didn't respond immediately. He just stared at him, trying to figure out whether this was concern or a disguised attempt to pull her back into his emotional orbit. But then, in a rare moment of vulnerability, Song Joong-ki added, "She was hurt for a long time, more than anyone knows. I'm afraid she'll be hurt again." And viewers, that was the moment everything changed. Because hidden beneath the warning, beneath the drama, beneath the jealousy, there was still a lingering wound. One that Song Joong-ki carried not because he wanted her back, but because he knew exactly what it felt like to lose her. And maybe, just maybe, a part of him didn't want someone else to go through that same pain. Lovely viewers, imagine being Minho in that moment. He had fought his own insecurities quietly. He had carried that warning alone. And now he was being told that the reason behind it wasn't about ownership or jealousy. It was about fear. But as insiders explained, Minho didn't accept the explanation blindly. He asked one simple question. If you were truly worried, why did you tell me not to marry her? The room froze. Because no explanation could cleanly justify those exact words. And that's when Song Joong-ki finally admitted something far more emotional than anyone expected. Something that fans will talk about for years. Because I didn't want you choosing her out of obligation. Not out of responsibility. Not because of the babies. She deserves someone who chooses her first. Not someone who feels pushed into it. Lovely viewers, that confession exposed the heart of everything. Song Joong-ki wasn't questioning Song Hye-kyo's worth. He was questioning Minho's readiness. He was projecting his own regrets, his own mistakes, his own emotional failures, hoping the same cycle wouldn't repeat. But even with that emotional honesty, viewers couldn't ignore the complexity. Because while his intentions may have come from a place of fear, his words had caused hurt, confusion, and tension that spiraled far beyond what he anticipated.